Yeah, so Tim, we just want to kind of give an overview of the types of electrical services that are offered by N.E.T.R and other types of similar contractors, general sort of contractors for heating and cooling, like N.E.T.R is. What are some of the most common electrical services that you provide for residential homes?
So the most common definitely has to do with their electrical panel or even their whole service. When we talk the term their electrical service, that usually means the panel that everyone knows, all well, and then also the outside portion where the electrical meter is. Basically, things like getting upgrades or repairs to those two very important pieces on your home. Um, they're they're basically the equivalent to getting a replacement of your heating system, a furnace, or boiler. They're the two most important parts of your electrical system. So we basically make sure, especially in doing our heat pumps, to make sure one, your service is big enough, has enough power to actually run the new heat pumps that you're installing in your home. And two, also make sure it's in good shape. No rust, no water's been in it, no mice or rodents have eaten away wires. Those are all common, especially over here in New England. Um, so we try to make sure that that is basically all up to all up to operating procedure and working well. And then the other thing is like your panel replacements. The common things that we see there are either panels that have been banned by the electrical code. There's a couple manufacturers that are still around in some houses today that even as licensed electricians we're not allowed to touch or work in. It simply just has to be replaced. There's no wiggle room, no work around. There's just that it was deemed dangerous.
You also mentioned electrical service upgrades. So how is that different than panel replacement?
So panel replacement will just be basically, updating your panel, maybe giving it more room, more space to add more things, but it does not give it more power. So an service upgrade gives it more power to operate. So basic example is common. What we'll see is a home that has 100 amps coming into the house, and we want to upgrade it to 200 amps. So back in the day, 100 amps used to be more than enough power. But obviously, as we've gotten tech savvy, you have your toasters, your coffee makers, your heat pumps, car chargers. The demand that you need to run all of those have gone well up. So the 200 amps is now kind of the way to go. It's basically the standard to operate all of those things without having your electrical system fail and not be able to operate the new things that you've added.
Okay. So besides the service upgrades and the panel replacement, what are some of the other common electrical services that you provide?
So a lot of things that we're seeing now is actually installing induction stoves and ovens. A lot of them are getting away from gas and basically the gas stoves, and they want all electric. A lot of people that I'm finding they just don't either trust or want gas, running throughout their house. They'd much rather have electric, and basically we end up seeing a lot of those calls, as well as of course the EV charger boom. Is going on. It's been going on for a while now, so we do get a lot of calls for fixing or installing electric vehicle chargers, and basically that comes along with upgrading the service if it's not big enough to support it. So kind of all curtails into one.
What about whole home surge protection? Do you just see more and more of that recently?
So yeah, so the code actually, the state of Massachusetts mandates if you actually change out a panel in any way or add a sub panel, you have to put whole home protection in. It's coming basically one of those just standard things that we do. We do offer it as well. Basically, for any heat pump that we install, we do have an option and offer it for whole home surge protector. One, to protect the heat pumps or the air conditionings that we are installing, but also it protects everything in your home, all your appliances, and we all know those can get very pricey very quickly if they all start failing or a surge happens. One of the questions that I get asked a lot of is, where does the surge come from? How does it start? And how will it affect me? So what a lot of people don't know is most of the surges actually originate inside your own home. So you have older dryer or an older stove and that's starting to malfunction, you may not know it, but that can actually send a surge back to your electrical panel and cause damage to other parts of your home on your electrical system. They do come, yes, from the outside, from the power company, lightning storms. That does happen, but far more common is it happening in your own home.
And then finally, generator systems is another service that you offer. What's involved in that?
So yeah, so generators is actually it's big during the winter when people start losing power, of course. So we're a Generac authorized dealer and authorized service provider as well for any Generac generators that you may have. Um, so we basically offer the full electrical um, portion of the generator. We don't do the plumbing part yet. We're working on to get plumbers in here to do plumbing part, but we do basically the entire electrical procedure of that from talking to you, sizing up the right size generator for your needs, and to all the way to installing, all the way to testing, and even yearly maintenance. We cover you all the way through everything. So you don't really have to go anywhere else once it's in place. You can use us for the maintenance, and basically, it's you have an authorized Generac dealer to do that.
Now you mentioned N.E.T.R installing ductless heating and air conditioning systems or heat pumps. What's involved in doing the electric work for those types of installations?
So the main part for that is getting power to the outside condenser unit. Sometimes it can be tricky. A lot of people have finished basements, so it's hard to get the wire from the panel to kind of where we need to get it for the condenser. And the placement of the condenser always matters for us. Like I always tell my guys, if there's a will, there's a way. We'll get that wire where it needs to go, but sometimes we'll have to make some holes and get it through that way. Also, um, all the connections between the condenser and the condenser heads are all electrical connections to have them operate. So that is also another part that is done by electricians as well, or authorized HVAC technicians. Um, and then basically we also have, you know, certain things from Mass Save and also upgrading like thermostats and getting the smart thermostats in place. We do a lot of that too.
And why is it important to hire a licensed and insured electrician in order to do electrical work in your home?
That's a good question. So what I've come across through countless customers that I've been to, they have, we call him Joe Blow in a truck. Oh, he's way cheaper than you. He's, guy in a truck that shows up. Oh, you're charging me $1,000 for this service, but he's only charging me, $150. Well, I mean, yes, he can go cheaper, but there's also a reason for that. Main reason is to hire, make sure you're hiring a qualified licensed electrician or even a qualified company on top of that that's fully insured is to protect the homeowner much because that guy in a truck who you hired could do a job. Maybe he does it wrong. Maybe he does it good. If anything happens, you may never hear from him again. Never be able to get in touch with him. And now you're stuck with whatever he did, right? With us at N.E.T.R, if one of our systems fails or something goes wrong, you can call us. You know where to find us. We'll be out to fix it. Also, for your homeowner's insurance, it's very important that you have a licensed electrician to install it because if something does happen, even if it's an accident, and ruled an accident, your homeowner's insurance may not pay out to the fixes for your home because you had an unqualified person do the work at your house. I know a lot of states, especially Massachusetts, is very strict about that in making sure that you have a licensed technician and or electrician doing the work in your home.
Yeah, so if you go to install something yourself, change out your outlets, install lighting or something like that, and it goes wrong and you end up having a fire in your house, you might not get a payment from your insurance company because of that.
Exactly. With us, basically everything we're liable for the work in your home that we do. And the license kind of holds us accountable and makes you able to find us. That's why getting permits pulled for work is important. Even if sometimes the wait times to get an inspector out there could be long, but it is important for your homeowner's insurance and to protect you. Um, N.E.T.R will only send out licensed electricians to your home to do the work, so you don't have to worry about any of that there. And we do pull permits for all of our condenser systems and work that we do. as well.